Welcome back to the ICA podcast. I'm Steve Prines, the course author and instructor for our home inspection training program. Well, it seems like the podcasts have been getting a really nice response. A lot of people have been listening and we're getting quite a few questions. Today I'll address a question from Anthony in Chicago. And Anthony emailed in and he said, Steve, I completed your training program earlier this year and I've been getting some inspections. Problem is that I don't seem to get repeat referrals from some real estate agents. I've been doing everything you suggested in the marketing classes, and it seems to work at first, but for some agents, when I try to contact them after getting that first referral, they either don't respond to my emails or voicemails, and when I saw a couple of them in their offices, they weren't very friendly. In fact, one of them said, you don't have to put everything on the report. And another agent said she couldn't afford any more kill deals. I do get regular referrals from some other real estate agents, and I try to do all of my inspections the same way, so is it me? Is it them? Or what? I'd sure appreciate any help you could provide. Well, I'll tell you what, Anthony, this is the age-old dilemma that home inspectors have always faced. Because we work in the real estate industry, the fastest and easiest way to get some home inspections going is to market yourself directly to real estate agents, and that is what we teach in the first half of our marketing course. You can definitely get home inspections without marketing through real estate agents, but the truth of the matter is it's much more difficult to get those inspections. It'll take a lot longer to get them, and you're not going to get quite as many. Now, having said that, real estate agents are just like everybody else. There's good ones and there's bad ones. We feel that real estate agents, because they have a lot of money riding on the sale of a house, we just feel like they're going to do anything they can to sell that house. Now, as I said, real estate agents are just people. You have good ones and you have bad ones. And absolutely, in my inspection career, I dealt with many, many very ethical real estate agents. But sure, there are some of those that aren't quite as ethical. And agents that'll do almost anything to get a house sold, they are few and far between. I think more realistically, there are going to be those agents that, first of all, maybe they don't sell a lot of houses, so each individual sale is much more important to them. And these types of agents, commonly known as bottom feeders in their own industry, by the way, these types of agents tend to view every home sale as critical to their livelihood, and these types of agents are more likely to refer home inspectors that maybe don't put everything on the report, that aren't quite as thorough. Now, I'm telling you from experience, and I did have a multi-inspector firm. We had, in all seriousness, several hundred real estate agents that would refer us on a regular basis. Now, for the most part, we were getting 2, 3, or 4 referrals a year from a lot of these agents, but absolutely we had a big group at the top of our referral list where we would regularly do 30 or 40 home inspections per year due to referrals from certain real estate agents. You might have heard the old adage that 10% of the real estate agents sell 90% of the houses. Well, based on our own data, that is exactly true. When we looked at our real estate referral base, about 10% of the agents in our referral base referred about 90% of our home inspections. So from our point of view, that old adage is exactly true. To directly answer your question, Anthony, you say that you're getting some repeat referrals from some real estate agents, but others don't want to talk to you again. Well, the agents that are giving you repeat referrals obviously feel that you're doing a fair job, an even-handed job, and that's what's most important. I've said this for years. I don't really inspect the house. The house inspects itself. All I do is write down what's there. And I think you see what I mean by that. Obviously, as a home inspector, I didn't cause the issues that I see in the house. I'm simply going through and doing a diligent job of reporting the defects that I do see. And I'm going to let my client know about maintenance issues that they probably should address within the next year or two. Whether or not you choose to put maintenance issues on your report is up to you. Most inspectors do. And the way you structure your home inspection report can certainly affect your client's opinion of the home and will also affect the way real estate agents view you. I've seen some home inspection reports where the inspector puts everything both in the report and then on a separate summary page, even maintenance items. Well, in my opinion, maintenance items probably should not be on a summary page. Generally, for most home inspectors, the idea of a summary page or pages is to list the items that are the most expensive or the most difficult to repair. Maintenance items like missing caulking and peeling paint, certainly if the peeling paint is just minor, that usually stays in the body of the report as a maintenance suggestion and probably doesn't really belong in a summary page. So when a real estate agent sees a home inspection report that has everything on the summary page, the real estate agent knows that that affects the buyer's opinion of the home, and therefore the real estate agent isn't too thrilled with the home inspector. Now, as I said, there are those agents that only sell 3 or 4 houses a year. They might be part-time agents, or they could be agents that put in a lot of time and are just not really great salespeople. But whatever the case, I think it's pretty obvious when an agent is only selling 3 houses a year and their commission on each house is a few $1,000s, well, they're not making that much money. And remember that generally agents pay all of their own expenses. They don't get gas money from the real estate office or mileage from the real estate office to pay for the miles in their car. And they pay for these expenses themselves. Truth be told, it's actually pretty difficult to make a lot of money as a real estate agent. And those agents that do sell 50 or 80 or even 100 houses a year, those are really good real estate agents, and we really should respect them for their ability. In my experience, the agents that sell a lot of houses tend to appreciate good, thorough home inspections. And here's why. When a real estate agent that sells a lot of houses refers a home inspector that does a nice, thorough job, and remember, when we say thorough job, I also mean an even-handed job. I said earlier that I sometimes like to think of the house as doing its own inspection and I simply write what's there, but I might add that we need to be even-handed. Now, obviously, doing a home inspection is somewhat of a subjective thing. What I think might be wrong but minor, you might think it's fine and not even consider putting on the report, or vice versa. Having said that, I think all experienced home inspectors can agree on what the major issues are. And we can agree on typically what items will be of most concern to the average home buyer. And again, those are going to be items that are expensive to repair or difficult to repair or can be considered to be safety issues, life-threatening safety issues. So getting back to real estate agents that sell a lot of homes, these types of agents typically do like to refer good, thorough home inspectors that do a nice report because these agents understand that if, due to the home inspection, the client changes their mind about purchasing the house because they think there's just too many issues, these agents will turn that situation around and say, well, hey, aren't you glad I referred that really good home inspector to you? I'm really sorry that I even showed you that house. If I had realized it had that many issues, I would never have shown you that house. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go out this weekend and we're going to find you a much better house in better condition. So what happens with the client? They feel that the real estate agent is looking out for the best interests, and of course the client's very happy with you as a home inspector. And as a home inspector, you're getting repeat referrals from this big-hitting agent. Really, when I went out marketing, especially early on when I was trying to build my firm up in the early 90s, nobody told me that. And when I would run across an agent that seemed to be in the office a lot and I could chat with them a lot, I thought it was really onto something because I was making a good contact with this agent. But I learned pretty quickly that when agents are sitting around in their office a lot, they probably aren't selling that many houses. The big hitters are hardly ever in their office. They're out showing houses and selling houses. That does make it a little harder to find the really good agents when you're doing your marketing, but they are there. They will be in their office at some point, and many of them have assistants, and you can talk to their assistants. The bottom line with this whole thing, Anthony, really is, it seems to me that you are doing the right thing. You're getting repeat referrals from some real estate agents, but not from others. So I would venture to say that the agents that are giving you repeat referrals do appreciate the good, thorough job you're doing for your clients. And for those agents that aren't happy with you, well, too bad. Now, you had written that one agent actually told you, you don't have to put everything on the report. Excuse me? You do have to put everything on the report. That's your job as a home inspector. Now, as I said a few minutes ago, doing a home inspection can be a little bit subjective, but not when it comes to items that are expensive or dangerous. Every home inspector can agree that those items should be on the report. And reputable agents won't argue with you when you put those kinds of items on the report. Now, having said that, what kind of things probably should not be on a home inspection report? Things like worn carpeting, especially in an older home, you probably don't want to put that on there. If carpeting is actually worn to the point where it might be a tripping hazard, especially on stairs, that should be on the report as a safety issue. But when it's just old, or maybe it's that weird orange shag carpet from the 70s, that's not the kind of thing most home inspectors are going to put on their inspection report. And Anthony, if you're putting a lot of that kind of stuff on your inspection report, when wallpaper looks old or something looks a little dirty, well, then I can kind of see a real estate agent's point a little bit more when they say you don't have to put everything on the report. However, I strongly suspect that the agent that said that to you really just thinks you're too thorough. I'm quite sure that when I look at your other comment when you said an agent told you she couldn't afford any more kill deals, it's very common for real estate agents to call home inspectors deal killers. Remember that for a real estate agent, there is nothing good that can come out of a home inspection. The agent's done their job. They managed to get a contract on the house. So the buyer is happy that they get ready to buy a house. The seller is happy because they now have a contract on the home, and the seller's hoping to get that home closed quickly. So what good can come out of a home inspection for the real estate agent or even for the current owner? Nothing, really. Because if the home is in great condition, then all you're really going to do is make the buyer feel better about the home. But remember, the buyer has already put a contract on the house. But if we go through and find defects, gets the buyer concerned, the buyer and seller will often go through negotiations to figure out who's going to fix anything, or the buyer may just walk away from the deal. Therefore, the deal is killed. And that's why real estate agents often call us deal killers. In a way, I don't blame them. And you know what? I've never taken offense to that. If an agent wants to go up to me and say, you know what, you killed my deal, I really want to say to them, well, you know what, you showed the client a crappy house. No, I've never said that. But that's what I want to say. And really, I take it as a compliment. And again, I'm not intentionally killing any deal. I am writing what's there. I try to do a very even-handed and fair inspection. I simply write what I see. And yes, I'm quite good at finding defects in a home. Anthony, you might be really good at it too. I know you completed our training program earlier this year, and probably your first couple inspections, you were a little bit nervous, but after you got a few inspections under your belt, you felt better and better about what you're doing. I don't know how many inspections you've done to this point, but I'm sure you feel better about what you do right now than that first couple of inspections. And that's a normal process for all of us. No matter what profession we're in, you're never as good when you're brand new as you are after you have a year of experience and 3 years of experience and 5 years of experience. When I did my first 3 home inspections, I thought I was a pretty darn good home inspector. Then after I did 100 inspections, I looked back at my first 3 or 4 reports and I thought, wow, these are not great. And then after I did 500 inspections, I realized how much I didn't know when I did 100 inspections. And it just goes on from there. And now at this point in my career, where I'm not even sure anymore how many thousands of inspections I've done, and I've been teaching home inspectors for years and years, both in pre-license training and in continuing education classes. I think I'm a pretty darn good home inspector right now. Way better than I was in 1992. But again, that is part of the normal maturation process. We all go through that no matter what our profession is. So to kind of close this one out, Anthony, I would say that it really sounds like you're doing the right things. You've said that you're trying to do everything we suggest in the marketing classes. And in the marketing classes, I think we even tell you in there that you're not going to reach every real estate agent. When you're doing marketing, it's kind of like doing sales. And nobody in sales bats 1,000. In Major League Baseball, if you bat 300, you get millions of dollars per year. Well, I'll tell you what, when you're out marketing, if you bat 300, you're going to get hundreds of inspections a year, in all seriousness. If you go to a real estate office and there's 30 agents that work in that office, if you can get even 5 of them giving you regular referrals, you're doing very, very well. And if you can get up to 10 or 15 of those agents in that office referring you on a regular basis, that's about as good as you're ever going to do. No home inspector controls a real estate office to the point where they get 80 to 90% of all their home inspection referrals out of an office. That just doesn't happen. If anyone ever wants to tell you that, they are lying to you. So I hope I've answered your question, Anthony. Hang in there. You're doing the right thing. Just keep moving forward. Well, that about wraps up today's podcast. Keep sending in your questions. Email them, text them, call them in, snail mail them in, but however you get them to us, send those questions in, and we'll consider them for future podcasts. Thanks very much for listening. So long.